Have you ever heard of Ilse Koch, the Nazi guard known as the Witch of Buchenwald? Her horrific acts of brutality during World War II were unspeakable, yet the story of her sadistic behavior still haunts us to this day. In this video, we will delve into the story of Ilse Koch and her horrific acts, exploring the depths of human depravity during one of the darkest periods in history. Stick around until the end as we uncover the shocking details of her downfall and the legacy she left behind. June 6, 1944 marked the start of the second largest seaborne invasion in history, as Allied forces began landing on the Normandy coast in France. This invasion was a pivotal moment in World War II and is widely regarded as the beginning of the end of the war in Europe. In July of the same year, Soviet forces liberated Majdanek, the first major Nazi concentration camp, located in German-occupied Poland. The liberation of concentration camps exposed the full extent of Nazi horrors to the world, revealing the emaciated and tortured survivors who had endured forced labor and malnourishment. Ilse Koch was a notorious perpetrator of the Nazi regime's atrocities. Born Margarete Ilse Koch in 1906 in Dresden, she joined the Nazi Party in 1932 and was central to Hitler's plan to create an ideal Aryan community. In Nazi thinking, women were valued for their activism in the Nazi movement and as generators of the race, with a larger, racially pure population believed to enhance Germany's military strength and provide settlers for conquered territory in Eastern Europe. The Nazis' aggressive population policy encouraged racially pure women to bear as many children as possible, and the SS created the Lebensborg program, which provided shelter, financial support, and adoption opportunities for children born to single mothers within the organization. The Nazi regime implemented policies to increase the population of Germany, with a particular focus on promoting marriage and the family unit. While the Lebensborn program, which aimed to increase the birth rate of racially pure German children, did not receive aggressive promotion and only saw around 7,000 births over 9 years, other policies were put in place to encourage procreation. This included offering marriage loans, income supplements for new children, and public recognition for large families. Women were seen as important members of the Nazi movement and were encouraged to take on various roles, such as welfare workers, teachers, and nurses. However, those who resisted or were deemed biologically inferior were persecuted, with hundreds of thousands being forcibly sterilized and tens of thousands being incarcerated in concentration camps. One such camp was Sachsenhausen, where Ilse Koch worked as a guard and security and later married the commandant. Initially used to incarcerate political opponents and criminal offenders, Sachsenhausen became part of the wider concentration camp system used by the regime to oppress and control its citizens. In August of 1937, Karl Otto was tasked with constructing a new concentration camp in Buchenwald. Though known for his greed, Ilse was feared for her brutality. Buchenwald became one of the largest concentration camps to be established within the borders of Germany. The prisoners were surrounded by an electrified barbed wire fence, watchtowers, and a chain of sentries armed with automatic machine guns. The entrance to the main camp featured a well-known punishment block called the bunker, where prisoners who violated camp regulations were tortured and killed. The main camp included 33 wooden barracks, disinfection buildings, a brothel, and a crematorium. The early inmates were political prisoners, along with Jews, repeat offenders, Jehovah's Witnesses, Sinti and Roma people, and Germany military dissenters. Ilse became known as the Witch of Buchenwald due to her obsession with tattoos. She would ride her horse around the camp looking for tattooed prisoners, sending them to their death. Before the prisoners were killed and burned, she would carve out the skin where the tattoo was located, calling them her trophies. She collected book covers, gloves, handbags, and lampshades made of human skin. She shared her tattoo obsession with Dr. Erich Wagner, who was allegedly her lover, and sought to find a connection between tattoos and criminal tendencies. Ilse Koch, despite being a mother of 3 children, was known for her sadistic behavior towards pregnant women and children inmates in the concentration camp. She would beat pregnant women with a whip, which had razor blades inserted along its length, causing them severe injuries. Koch also took pleasure in beating children inmates and even laughed when they were taken to gas chambers. Her sexual deviancy was also evident as she organized orgies with SS men and forced male prisoners to rape female prisoners in front of her. Despite her heinous acts, After the war, Ilse Koch portrayed herself as a loyal SS wife and a mother who enjoyed horseback riding and caregiving. In 1941, Josias Waldeck, who had supervisory authority over the Buchenwald concentration camps, discovered that Karl Otto Koch had ordered the killing of 2 hospital attendants who had treated him for syphilis. Koch had wanted to keep this information secret, and Waldeck's investigation brought her actions to light. Ilse Koch's horrific actions during the war showed her sadistic tendencies. However, her attempts to portray herself as a caring and loving person after the war were proven to be false when her past actions were uncovered. In the wake of reports that a prisoner had been shot while attempting to escape, Waldeck ordered a full investigation of the Buchenwald concentration camp. Although the primary perpetrator of the camp's atrocities, Karl Koch, had been transferred to another camp in Poland, his wife Ilse remained at Buchenwald. As the investigation progressed, evidence emerged that Koch had given orders to kill prisoners and had embezzled stolen goods from them. The Kochs had used the Nazi system to amass a great deal of wealth, but their downfall was sealed when it became clear that all property stolen from Jews was regarded as the property of the Reich. Karl Otto Koch was executed for his crimes, while Ilse was acquitted due to lack of evidence. The Buchenwald camp was liberated in April 1945, and the prisoners sent a desperate SOS message to General Patton's army, which arrived just in time to prevent the SS from evacuating and destroying the camp. The US 6th Armored Division found over 21,000 survivors who were weak and emaciated. The liberation of Buchenwald brought to light the unspeakable horrors that had been committed in Nazi concentration camps and underscored the need for the international community to come together to prevent such atrocities from ever happening again. During World War II, the Gestapo planned to blow up the Buchenwald concentration camp to destroy evidence of Nazi atrocities, including its prisoners. However, the administrators had already fled, and a prisoner who answered the phone told the Gestapo that the camp had already been destroyed. The Americans, led by General Patton, wanted to make sure that the German people would take responsibility for Nazi crimes, so they ordered the mayor of the nearby city of Weimar to bring 1,000 citizens to Buchenwald to witness the evidence of Nazi atrocities, including a display of paintings made from human skin, a lampshade made from human skin, and various body parts preserved in alcohol. Ilse Koch, one of the camp's leaders, spent the last months of the war in Ludwigsburg, where she was later arrested by the US authorities in June 1945. She was tried at the Buchenwald trial in April 1947 and denied any involvement or knowledge of the abuse and murder of camp inmates. However, she was sentenced to life imprisonment for instigation to murder in 135 cases. Her sentence was initially commuted to 4 years, but after a public outcry, she was immediately indicted by a German court. In November 1950, the second trial against Koch began, during which 250 witnesses were heard, and at least 4 testified that they had seen Koch choose tattooed prisoners, who were then killed, or had seen or been involved in making human skin lampshades from tattooed skin. In January 1951, Koch was sentenced to life imprisonment. She made several petitions for a pardon, but all were rejected. Mentally ill and experiencing delusions, she committed suicide by hanging herself with a bedsheet in 1967 at the age of 60. Her son Artwin also committed suicide in 1967. The story of Ilse Koch, the Nazi guard known as the Witch of Buchenwald, is a chilling reminder of the atrocities committed during World War II. Her sadistic and cruel actions towards prisoners, particularly those with tattoos, have left a permanent mark on history. The liberation of concentration camps exposed the full extent of Nazi horrors to the world, and it is important to remember these events to ensure they are never repeated. By sharing and discussing stories like Ilse Koch's, we can learn from the past and work towards a better future. If you found this video informative, please consider sharing it with others and subscribing to our channel for more thought-provoking content.